Ever since I found out Harriet Tubman is not a real person.
This sister that actually went viral on the social platform where she claimed that Harriet Tubman was never real, that it was just a made-up story. This got a lot of people reacting like, what are you talking about? Like, Lovelies, even myself, I was shocked. I was confused because I have even, watched so many clips of Harriet Tubman. I'm just going to roll the clip as well as some of other stitches I was able to put together. Please leave me your own thought in the comment section of this video, and please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. Alright, lovelies, let's dive into it.
You don't know history doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Ever since I found out Harriet Tubman is not a real person, it fucked me up, not gonna lie. Because her real name is Araminta Ross. And she was a spy for the United States government. Her real name, Araminta, is not connected to the Harriet Tubman. And Sojourner Truth's real name is Isabella Bumfrey. Same thing, was also a spy. Yeah, if they were published in American history and it was Black history, they were spies, bro. They've been trafficking people. Underground. It's all underground. And they want us to look up and idolize these people. Oh, well, they look just like me, so I must look up to them. Stop that shit immediately.
All it takes is a phone, a bit of confidence, and a strong opinion. Discrediting centuries of scholarship with 60 seconds of baseless commentary. Social media has given everyone a mic, but volume is not the same as knowledge. Harriet Tubman's legacy is not up for debate. Changing your name after escaping slavery and being labeled a fugitive is a survival tactic. Harriet Tubman, born Araminta Ross, adopted the name Harriet after her mother and Tubman after her husband. This is well-documented history, not conspiracy. In fact, many children's books and films refer to her early life nickname, Minty. Minty from Araminta. Yeah. Her story is not some rumor passed down. It has been preserved in letters, interviews, archives. There are museums, landmarks, and curricula built on her legacy. You not knowing doesn't make it fiction. It just means it's a gap in your knowledge. So yes, Harriet Tubman was very real. She was a revolutionary, a Union spy, a nurse, and a conductor of the Underground Railroad, which was not really underground, y'all. She freed around 70 people through her own missions and over 700 during the Combahee River Raid with the Union Army. That's nearly 800 lives changed forever. Dismissing her legacy because you don't know history is disrespectful to the generations who fought to make sure her story lived on. Harriet Tubman's life is one of the most documented and heroic stories in American history. History is not up for debate. It's a discipline. You cannot opinion your way out of facts. Just because you don't know history.
The only appropriate response to Harriet Tubman isn't real is, are you fucking stupid? Like, unfortunately, we do have to get back to bullying. We have to get back to just being like, you're a fucking idiot, right? What are you working with? 2 brain cells that are clearly just knocking around in all the free space between your ears? Harriet Tubman's not real? That's the conspiracy theory that we want to latch on to? Anyway, I'm not arguing with anybody. I don't need to prove to you that Harriet Tubman is real. I'm just going to call you all types of stupid, dumb, big idiot. Idiots. Y'all are fucking idiots.
So apparently we reached the part of digital delusion where people are out here saying that Harriet Tubman wasn't real. And honestly, I should have known we were headed here, right? Because the moment you start telling the real truth about Black resistance, somebody always tries to rewrite the ending, but this time they picked the wrong one, all right? Let me make this real simple. Harriet Tubman was a real person. I think the problem is that a lot of them just can't fathom the idea that a disabled Black woman who couldn't read, lived with seizures, and was born into bondage still outsmarted the system multiple times over. So instead of sitting with that, y'all default to, oh, well, she must be a myth. Because God forbid someone exists outside the mold that you've been spoon-fed. So let's run this back. She was born Araminta Ross in Maryland, yet she was enslaved. She took a blow to the skull from her overseer that nearly killed her. And when she escaped in her 20s, she could have stayed gone. But she didn't. She went back again and again and walked more than 70 people to freedom. And no, she didn't float on vibes. She knew the signs, the land, the networks. She carried a gun. She told people, you'll be free or you'll be dead. Pick one. But wait, there's more. She worked with John Brown. She served as a Union spy and led the Combahee River Raid in 1863, freeing over 700 people in a single night. But sure, she's a myth, because clearly a black woman doing the impossible must mean it didn't happen, right? Y'all will believe in talking snakes, cherry trees, and founding fathers who somehow love liberty while owning people. But you draw the line at Harriet Tubman. Make it make sense. So here's the real issue. Harriet didn't just escape. She turned around and made herself the nightmare of the slave-holding South. She was strategic, ruthless, and brilliant. But apparently y'all aren't ready for that version. So no, I'm not going to debate her existence. But what I will do is say this. If Harriet Tubman feels too real to be real, that says more about your imagination than it ever will about her. She lived, she freed, she wrecked the entire system with her own bare hands. And that's what you're trying to erase.
So there's a black woman that came on here saying that she found out that Harriet Tubman is not a real person, and that is the fastest that I've ever reported a post for misinformation. A lot of you Negroes are the ones that Carter G. Woodson was afraid were going to be miseducated and indoctrinated. The idea that Harriet Tubman is not real because she was birthed by a different name is wild to me. So Muhammad Ali is not real? El-Hajj El-Malik Shabazz is not real? Y'all do know Sojourner Truth was not born Sojourner Truth, right? Folks can claim that the school system dropped the ball, but I blame a lot of y'all's parents too. Because even a third grade social studies class would have taught you that enslaved folks that fled to freedom, that escaped, had a bounty on their head because they were considered property. They generated profit for their enslavers. So as a result, their slave masters and mistresses kept a manifest, a recording of their names. So by changing their names, it kept them safe. The same black woman in that same video came on here to say that Harriet Tubman should not be considered a hero. But it is as a result of that woman's work as a spy for the Union that she fought for gender equality. You know who else was a spy? Josephine Baker, who fought against the Yazidis. And you sit here as a black woman with other ignorant ass black people in your comments while the current administration is currently desecrating black American history. What do you mean Harriet Tubman isn't real?
Like, I can understand the thought process behind being surprised or confused because you didn't know that her, like, real name wasn't Harriet Tubman. Right? Like, I can wrap my head around that part. But at the same time, like, you know this woman was basically a fugitive. Like, that she ran away, that she was an escaped slave, okay? And so, like any fugitive, you wouldn't run around going by your real name. So I think it's like her mother's first name and her father's last name, right? But how you go from her real given birth name isn't Harriet Tubman to she just wasn't real, that we like made her up, is actually insane. Like, Harriet Tubman is not a Paul Bunyan, Johnny Appleseed situation where these are like stories and folklores that people like derive that are like loosely based on real people. Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth are real people. They're real people. Like, I'm putting y'all thinking Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth aren't real up there with people over the age of like maybe 12 or 13 who legitimately think that the Underground Railroad wasn't real or like think that the Underground Railroad was actually an Underground Railroad. Like, y'all think that in like the 1800s there was just some sort of secret like fucking MTA subway that somehow like was untraceable. Like, open the schools. Open, like, I don't understand. Like, how could I can't wrap my head around anybody being that dumb. I just don't understand.
I've been on the internet for like forever, forever. And I think one of the silliest things you can do via the internet is to take someone and to reduce them down to minuscule moments and to judge them for the rest of eternity. Like, the way that people create ops on here and just the internet in general, like, it's so ridiculous to me, because a lot of the people and I've met a lot of the people who are in the hot seat on here every other goddamn day, like, and I know I'm one of those people too, but like, it's like, they're really just like normal, down to earth, cool people who often do real important work in real life, helping communities of people, swaths of people. But, people will get online and try and make villains out of us, frankly. And often people who don't do shit. And it's just like so sad that so many people on the internet have very little like brain power to think on their own, and they just like follow that wave, seeing people who just are like good people, like genuinely good people, and who aren't even trying to be good people. They just are passionate about the work that they do, myself included, bitch, because I love what I do. I shows up for my community. It's so sad and just silly. Like, wow. And you miss out on the opportunity to connect with people who do really good work. If we existed, if social media was a thing like how it is now, back in like the movements from the past, I think like the Black Panther movement, the Civil Rights movement, y'all would rip people to shreds. Like the very icons and leaders that we rely on. You saw that girl who got up on here and said, oh, like, don't praise Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman wasn't a real person. She was a spy for the U.S. government. Like, so basically, fuck Harriet Tubman. Like, y'all are nuts. And y'all don't even recognize that y'all, like, kind of do the same thing, rinse and repeat. And yeah, I don't think a lot of people on here are perfect, myself included, but y'all are, like, really wild for that.
Did anyone else see that video of that girl who said something like, I can't believe that I never knew before that Harriet Tubman didn't exist? And then she goes on this like long tangent saying like, yeah, like she wasn't a real person. Harriet Tubman's not even her real name. She was a spy for the US government. But that's not even like the worst part of the whole thing. The worst part were the people that were in her comment section agreeing with her, saying like, oh my gosh, like I knew it. I knew that she couldn't have been like a real person, and like I knew I just wasn't buying the whole Underground Railroad story. Like, I cannot believe that our public school system has failed some of y'all this badly to where y'all are sitting here not only spreading misinformation like this, but like, do y'all actually believe what you're saying, or are you rage baiting? Because there's just no way that I believe that y'all truly believe that Harriet Tubman wasn't a real person. And the fact that the woman who made this video is black? What? So here's a little quick PSA. Harriet Tubman was a real person. Harriet Tubman did exist. Harriet Tubman changed her name, and Harriet Tubman was a spy in the sense that she was bringing enslaved people to freedom. I don't know why on earth you're trying to sit here and like purposely spread misinformation like this. But please, y'all, like, if you truly don't know something, please do the research before you get on TikTok making videos about it. Because it's not funny and it's not cute. And like, especially in the climate that we're in, like, I don't know why you would do this, but just so we're clear, Harriet Tubman did exist.
If someone can get on the internet and tell you that Harriet Tubman never existed, what they're able to tell you is that the things that Harriet Tubman accomplished and the things that are attributed to her never happened. The most significant accomplishment that history gives to Harriet Tubman is being the leader, or one of the leaders, of the Underground Railroad and rescuing over 70 enslaved people out of bondage into freedom. And if someone gets on here and says that, and you believe it, what they're saying is that the things that that person accomplished never happened. And that opens up the door for them to feed you anything, because it gets rid of the expediency of our ancestors wanting freedom. And if there's no expediency in freedom, they get to tell us that our ancestors enjoyed their bondage or they deserve their bondage. It's way deeper than ignorance and bad education at this point. I honestly believe that the people that are pushing this are bad actors. Don't fall for the bullshit.
We're questioning the existence of Harriet Tubman now. Bob the drag queen has to explain to y'all that Harriet Tubman did in fact exist? Are y'all dead ass? As ironic as it is, it came from the mouth of a black woman. Please, y'all love to play identity politics to y'all detriment. This right here proves that we are way more lost as a collective. Too lost to even really be holding these conversations. Education needs to happen first, literally. Bring school back into the schoolhouses, because meanwhile, at the same time, y'all are literally holding spaces and lives to bash other black people. And we can't even agree that Harriet Tubman existed. Shut it down.
Real quick, because this video is not for the lady who made this, because I think she's made her mind up that Harriet Tubman is like a fairy tale creature. But I do want to discuss the issues for someone, because I see a lot of the comments are like, "Oh my God, I knew it." Like this comment really gagged me. So let's unpack it.
Because her real name is Araminta Ross.
Yeah, she was born Araminta Ross. But people change their names all the time, right? Like, we know this. So when you get to freedom, you want to change your name, because they're often looking for enslaved people by their names, and you can't go and say your name is the same name that it was when you were an enslaved person, or they might find you. So she took her husband's last name, Tubman, and her mother's name, Harriet, and created the name Harriet Tubman.
She was a spy for the United States government.
This part is true. Harriet Tubman was a spy for the U.S. government, but I think you're making it seem more sinister than it actually is. So Harriet Tubman worked for the Union, the North, to help free enslaved people in the South. Because remember, the United States was too low-key two governments at the time. So she led a mission called the Combahee River Raid, which freed, historians are estimating, somewhere between 500 and 800 people in one night, while raiding 3 different plantations, and offering the enslaved people an opportunity to join her and go to the next place to fight for the freedom of their brothers and their sisters and their fellow enslaved people. So yes, she was a spy for the U.S. military, but not the way she's making it sound. So when the slaves were being freed, it was never because Abraham Lincoln was an abolitionist. He was not. It was done just to cripple the South, because they were using free labor, slave labor, to build their economy. So to be clear, the United States, the North, Abraham Lincoln, they were not like, we are just so anti-slavery. They just wanted to cripple the South and make them lose the war.
And they want us to look up and idolize these people. Oh, well, they look just like me, so I must look up to them. Stop that shit immediately.
Black Americans have every right to question the U.S. government. I firmly believe that, considering all they've done to us, the lies they've told us. That being said, everything's not a trick. There have been a lot of tricks. Everything isn't a trick. Now I'm looking at the comments, right? Like this comment I mentioned earlier. Harriet Tubman has descendants. Harriet Tubman didn't have children, but Harriet Tubman does have living relatives. They've written books. This is a book by one of her living descendants, or one of her living relatives. So Harriet Tubman absolutely has very living relatives. And now I'm looking at videos like this one.
Finally, someone's talking about it, because I just was saying this the other day to someone. Hear me out. That shit does not make any sense. Why would you be taking slaves underground in tunnels?
The Underground Railroad was not under the ground. It wasn't sub-earth. It wasn't below the earth. It was underground, like it was a secret. You know, that was how it was underground. But it was there were not tunnels going from Maryland to Canada. There is a YouTuber named FD Signifier, who I strongly recommend you watch his videos. He's great. But he's coined this term called pseudo-intellectual Negro nonsense. And that's what this is. Now, I want to be clear. I am not an intellectual. I am not a historian. I'm a history buff. I like history. I am not, specifically surrounding Harriet Tubman specifically. I am not a historian. I really strongly urge you, if you're going to listen to someone, listen to actual historians who studied history. Harriet Tubman is a very well-documented person, a very well-documented real person who lived
When I
and
saw
helped
this
a lot
clip,
of people.
I was like, I want to know where this clip is coming from. Who is this clip actually coming from? And I realized that it was coming from a black woman, a black sister, and I was just so disappointed. Though I went as far as to go, to try to see if that said stitch is still available, and it happens that I think she took it off from her, because I think she has received a lot of backlash to correct her and her. I don't know what she tend to gain with coming up with Harriet Tubman not being real. Like, I know that you know, no one is perfect. Myself, I'm not perfect. I am someone who is very open to learn things. Like I so much appreciate it anytime I learn something that I have no idea of, you know. And the thing is that so these pan colored people showed a lot of historical facts to us. So sometimes we begin to, you know, actually question if something is real or not. But that is when you have to do more research. You know, you have to do more research, try to also learn and hear from black authors because you wouldn't tell me that there are no black authors out there, you know. So this lady came up, you know, with this theory that Harriet Tubman was not, it wasn't a thing, like she never existed, you know, because the said lady actually got married and changed um her name. The same woman who actually liberated, according to history, right? She liberated a lot of enslaved people. Like there is this movie on Netflix. I took my time to actually watch and learn because I've heard so many stories about this powerful black woman who actually liberated black people, enslaved black people. She conquered, she, you know, the story that I read on or I saw on Netflix, even if it's not 100%, I learned a lot. This woman is someone that needs to be celebrated, that needs to be like remembered. Like really deserves to have a day to specifically celebrate her. She is a woman who went through all odds to make sure that her own people were set free. And it's so disrespectful that someone of the same descendant would just come up and talk about how, no, those are just fictions. Those never happened. Those are just made up stories. Like, it's so disappointing to see a sister to come out and say that. Like, even if you want, even if you're questioning it, which is very understandable because we have been sold so many historical facts that turns out to be lies and propaganda, but sometimes you have to like, okay, let me make more research and all of that before coming out on a social platform to spew all of those things. Don't be an instrument of, you know, propaganda, you know, to question the existence of people that looks like me. It doesn't really make you, you know. But the good thing is that when I went to her, you know, to check if the video is still up there, it was actually removed and she put up an apology video. She put out an apology video and she was like, okay, she's so sorry. She actually admitted that maybe she was wrong. She needs to learn and, you know, learn more history. Like myself, sometimes I see things on the social platform. I stitch it here, and sometimes you guys leave commentaries. I try as much as I can to go on those commentaries to actually learn more because with all of the comments, I get to learn so many things, and this is how it should be. You shouldn't just come and spew things that you are not even sure about. Like, even if you're having a doubt, okay, consult maybe one or two or make your own research yourself before coming out and like, oh my god, I'm so disappointed. Harriet Tubman, he was never a thing. Like, a woman who went through what Herod went through just to free her own people need to be celebrated and not to be debunked or not to like you never existed or not to be appreciated. Like we are grown past this level, right? As people that looks like me, we are grown past this level. No matter what the other people or their propaganda to still make us believe that okay we just have to keep on learning. It's a learning process, and if you get confused, sometimes you ask questions. There's no point coming to like phew, pa, open your mouth and say what you're not sure of. But the good thing, I think she has realized her mistake, and everything is super cool right now. Anyway, lovelies, if you've watched up to this extent, do your baby girl a huge favor to click on the subscription button. I hope you like my new location. I've been so bored inside the house. I decided to just come out, receive fresh air while I react. Thank you so much for all the love and support. My new channel, Ballistic Cheese, please, lovelies. If I don't post here, I post there. Support. And to the people that see their video, you could just check them out and support their platforms as well. Thank you, and I will leave. I will see you, lovelies, when I upload the next one.